Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Chalice Chats. We are back down here in Lower Tumaru. I have spent a bunch of my blood echoes that I earned exploring the dungeon. This is the wrong screen to show them. This is the correct screen to show them. So I gained one more level, I got a little bit more vitality, and I think that's pretty much it. Repaired my weapon, took care of that. It looks like my portable lantern is on. So I'm going to run back into the dungeon here, and that's the wrong way to run back into the dungeon. That's going to take me back to the elevator. I'm going to turn left, and we're going to actually go the correct direction, which I believe is an immediate right, so that we can go take on the boss. And yes, it is. So this boss is something of a special circumstance. This is the one boss that I have looked up ahead of time because lore-wise, it's very important, as we will all see in just a moment as I open these double doors. Aha! Large beast. And, oh boy, I got lucky with that timing. Alright, I'm curious about my damage here. That was 207. Yep, that's pretty consistently 683 after 3. The damage I take, I'm feeling okay about. Alright. This might take a few tries. Anyway, the important thing, though, actually probably more important than how alive I am right now, is the boss name. Which, it is, if you look at the first kanji there, oops, you got me. First kanji is beast. The second one is blood, and then we have our familiar no, which is generally you can think of it as the word of, and I'm dead. I'll finish that thought in just a few seconds here when I load back in and we try again. Okay, we're back in. We're going to try it again. And the final kanji is kind of the operative one. So we had beast, and then blood, and then of, and then the last one is master. Well, I call it master. It's actually a little bit more complicated than that. It can be read in several different ways, all of which have different meanings. And, yikes, right in my face. So if you string that together in a way that's not me just giving you like one kanji meaning, pseudo meaning at a time, you get something like the Master of Beast Blood, if you just take it the way that I've explained it just now. And, oh, I got grabbed. That's astonishing to me. I didn't realize he could grab you from that particular range. And, alright, that hurt. So, if you'll also notice his skull, hey, why don't you throw your face at me again, so I can see it. There we go. You'll notice the kind of split damage that has been done to his skull. People who have not been... I can't believe he can grab me like that. Alright, well, I'm dead. But anyway, people who are better at the game than me, who have more, like, modding skills, have taken a much closer look at his face, and they've determined that it actually matches with Lawrence's skull in the waking world. If you go to the altar in the Grand Cathedral, the skull of that particular beast matches up with this creature and the skull on the altar. Those skulls match. So it's pretty well known, I think, at this point. I just get smacked. Pretty well known at this point that this particular boss, the Master of Beast Blood, is... Wow, I just instantly died. Is thought to be what happened to Lawrence. And I'm probably going to cut, when I eventually finish, actually do well in this fight and finish him off, I'll probably grab that footage and stick that into Translation Born later on at some point, just so that I can address this in the main series, because it's kind of an important point. Lawrence is a major player in the lore, and this boss being him is something of a big deal. So, yeah, I'll have to address that in the main series. The first two kanji, the beast and the blood, like, I don't know how that's exactly pronounced. Like, my guess would be kemonochi, or maybe Juketsu. Actually, it's probably more likely to be Juketsu. Because that is, like, more of a standard way to combine those two kanji. Like, when you put two kanji together, there's ways that are more standard and less standard. And more standard approach would be Juketsu. But, yikes. The final one could be read, for instance, as Aruji. And in that sense, I think, like, this is all off the top of my head, obviously, so don't quote me on any of this necessarily. Uh-oh, he got me. We'll come back to the meaning of that kanji in just a second. So, yeah, Aruji is one potential reading for that final kanji. And like I said, this is all kind of off the top of my head. I can think of 3 readings for the kanji and 3 meanings that I kind of associate with them. So Aruji tends to be like the head of the household, the owner of something, someone who's in charge of something. I kind of already gave, like, another way to read that final kanji was the way that I tend to think of it. I don't know if it's actually related to how commonly understood that kanji is, but I tend to think of it as Nushi, which means pretty straightforwardly master. It's like this comes up a lot in, like, Japanese folk tales. In Japanese folk tales, you'll get places, you'll get places, but you also get things that kind of rule over those places. So like a fairy spirit that is the lord of a particular place. Actually, if you're familiar with the anime Mushishi, they tend that particular anime / manga tends to use the idea of Nushi a lot. So you'll have there's a boar who is the Nushi of a particular mountain, and the boar being the Nushi of that mountain is what makes it's crucial to the health of that mountain, because everything, all life in that mountain and the flowing of the whole ecosystem kind of depends on the health of that master or lord. So that's Nushi. That's how I tend to think of it. I'm a pretty big fan of Mushishi. That was a nice good look of the boss's face. That was in case the earlier in-fight one didn't come out too well. But anyway, so we've got that. Then there's also Shu, is the other way that you can read that final kanji. And this one is a little bit more up in the air. I actually did a little bit of research because, like I said, I knew this boss was coming. And apparently, if you read the final kanji as Shu, you get some interesting connotations. I actually think, like for instance, in Christianity, Shu is a way to refer to Christ. I think I saw that on the Encyclopedia Britannica or something. So, which is interesting considering this, like if you think of this this beast, as being Lawrence, and Lawrence being the head of the healing church, and the Chalice dungeons as communion. Like, I'm not entirely sure ultimately how much of a Christian influence this game has. I don't think it's actually very strong. I think it's got a lot of words and iconography and stuff without necessarily being that heavily influenced, but I could be wrong. I tend to see more of the Gothic and Lovecraftian elements at the fore. And I know, for instance, I know some people who think of it in terms of having strong Buddhist elements. It's a really big mix of a game. But I did think that was interesting that Shu, for that particular kanji, if you read it that way, does have that group of meanings. So there's also, I think, the standard fan translation or retranslation of this boss name is I'm dead. Is the host of Beast Blood, as opposed to the actual official name. The actual official name is the Bloodletting Beast, and it's kind of been a well-known issue for a while that choice kind of obscures the idea that this is, like I said, if we use my particular more literal version, you've got the Master of Beast Blood, or the, I think the standard fan go-to, at least the one that I've run across the most, being the host of Beast Blood. But even if you consider him to be the host of Beast Blood, it's, and I think this comes up actually in the main game at some point, when you use the word host, it makes you think of maybe a host parasite sort of thing, especially in the context of illness and what's going on in the story of Bloodborne. And that's really not what is the meaning of host in this instance. Boy, you could watch his arms stretch like crazy that time. Host in this sense would be like the host of a party, like the head of the household who's going to entertain guests. The owner of a place who is going to host a party in that particular location. So, ooh, I'm getting eaten. Oh man, that's cool. Oh, and I'm dead. I got killed in a pretty cool fashion. Anyway, I think I'm almost done with this point. Yeah, I think I've basically talked around that point enough. We have the Master of Beast Blood, or the host of Beast Blood, although by host it's not necessarily like a host of a parasite, just the originator, I guess. Not even originator, it's like the boss. I wonder if I actually don't know this, because like I said, this is kind of off the top of my head. I wonder if there's a sense of purveyor. Because it's like you're the owner of this particular... Is this going to kill me again? Yes, it is. Alright. Well, yeah, so I'm curious about whether or not it might mean purveyor. That could be nothing. Could be something. It's tough to be sure. But the thing about it is bloodletting doesn't... Oh, this is the last thing I think that needs to be said before I kind of feel more comfortable moving on. The bloodletting beast, I think it does obscure some of this idea that this is the Master of Beast Blood, but I do think there is this to be said for it, is that you do have the connection with the history of bloodletting in medicine, and the idea of a healing blood coming from this thing, right? If this is the owner of Beast Blood and its ultimate source, if you think of it in that sense, then letting the blood of this beast results in the healing blood of the healing church. I don't think that's actually true to the lore. I'm not really an expert on the lore. I think I'm more interested in kind of general issues in translation. So if any of this, I know I have some lore hunters in my audience. So if any of this is rubbing you the wrong way and making you think, oh, this is not very good lore, that may well be the case. But I do think it's interesting to think of in that light as a possibility. So the bloodletting beast being the thing that they get the blood from. And oops, I was a little early on my dodge there. Let's see if we can't recover from this situation. So anyway, I think any more talking at this point would be just kind of belaboring the issue. I do think it's interesting that we get the wide variety of potential meanings. I think it's pretty cool that people have basically been able to determine that this is Lawrence and therefore an important boss. Why is he just sitting there? That was probably an opening that I earned and didn't just threw away for no good reason. But anyway, having made that point, I'm going to try and focus on this fight a little more, see if I can't do a little better as a result. And I'm also curious, like I said, I've been doing in the realm of 200 to 300 damage with my Tonitrus. I'm going to switch to my Saw Cleaver and see what happens here, because, aha, timing right. Yeah, it does basically the same amount of damage. Because the Saw Cleaver, even though it's a lower level, like my Tonitrus I think is a level 8, and my Saw Cleaver is a level 6, which is normally a huge difference that wouldn't necessarily be so easily overcome. The fact that I've switched it to fire damage, and that it is a serrated weapon, means that it does a lot of damage to beasts. And Lawrence here is definitely a beast. Our master of beast blood. Kind of the definitive beast creature. So, when I switched this thing's attack to fire, I kind of had the idea that if I was going to be fighting this guy, it might be worth switching to, as opposed to, oops, oh, that worked out, as opposed to going at it with my Tonitrus, which does blunt damage, which, you know, isn't necessarily bad. I don't know what his resistances are, but it's not as good as damage that he is not as resistant to. And, yeah, beasts are weak to fire, beasts are weak to serrated. They are not weak to blunt, and they are not weak to bolt. So, figured I'd give this a shot. And, I don't know. I feel like, even with all of that going for me in terms of weapon selection, it's not necessarily like an out-and-out better option. I think because it's of such a much lower level. And it looks like, because I think in one form, oh, well, died again. I think in one form it's better than the other. I think if I extend it, it no longer does serrated damage, as opposed to when it's collapsed. That transform attack is pretty cool, and it comes out very quickly, but it might actually get me more damage if I just do a string of attacks with it closed off like this. So I'm going to compare. I'm actually going to hold off on healing a little bit, because I've only got so many blood vials, and I've probably been burning through them without thinking very hard. So I'm just going to try and compare with what little life I have. Oops. That didn't work. I want to get 3 hits. 2, 3, 632. Alright. He just kind of hung out there. And, oops. I want to get 3 hits going to and from my transformation. You know, I'm going to heal a little bit, just because I'm curious about this comparison. It was almost a complete waste of my healing. Glad I am getting a little bit better at timing my dodge to that attack. 1. Nope. Come on. I just want to know what's the best way I can do damage. Just after I said I was getting better at dodging it. Go figure. Alright. 1, 2, 3. 731. Okay. So it does look like if I can get that string of transform attacks in, well, punch it to death. That's the way to go there. I should compare that to the Tonitrus. I think it was 731. Okay. I'm going to get one more set of comparisons here, and then just eyeballing the length of this episode, it's going decent length already. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to give this one more shot, and then we're going to go to a montage mode, and I will see you back at the end of all that. So switching back to the Tonitrus, and he's running away. Alright, unbuffed Tonitrus. Oh great, I get grabbed. Is this gonna kill me? This might kill me. Didn't kill me. Haha! Alright, so 1, 2, nope, that killed me. Well, I'm still curious about the comparison, so I'm not gonna go into montage mode just yet. Also, I don't think that used any blood vials, so it's always easier to get a retry when I don't use any blood vials. Or maybe I used one, I don't know. It was not a very lengthy attempt, that's kind of the point. Let's see. Just running back in, I gotta try and get 3 attacks. At the beginning, I think, he usually opens with that one, yep, that one punch. And I'm getting kind of okay at dodging. Wow, I whiffed like every single time. Heal up a little bit. And, okay. Alright, good. 1, 2, 3. 639. Alright, so unbuffed, the Saw Cleaver is better after that string of 3 attacks into and out of transformation. Buffed, let's see what happens. 1, okay, well, I miss a lot. That's what happens. Buff again. 1, 2, oops. 628, 947. Okay, so the buffed Tonitrus is actually, oops, that was early, but he missed, the best thing that I have. Good to know. Alright, unless this attempt actually ends up working out, ooh, I got a visceral, maybe? Yes. Alright, I switched to the Saw Cleaver in the hopes that the fire and the serrated would carry over in the visceral. That's another thing to maybe compare. I don't know if I'll ever stagger him that way again. It's kind of hard to hit him in the head, but, oops, could be worth trying. Alright, let's heal up, and let's dodge, and let's buff, and attack, and miss, and hit him in the head. That was a lucky strike. Alright, yeah, buff Tonitrus is apparently quite the way to go here. Oh, and this is that thing that he does where he just stands still for a while. I like that thing where he stands still for a while. It's a good excuse to get a lot of damage on him. Though, it looks like it's the entry to another phase or something. Okay, that was interesting. He does seem to be, like, covered, like his fur is up, maybe? And it looks like he's covered in some sort of shimmering light of some kind? I don't know. Alright. Yikes. Okay. Stomp. Alright, he's backing up. And we're gonna, nope. I was just pressing the dodge button. And it was a little too late. Ended up getting punched in the face. And I'm gonna back off. And he's gonna punch me. Which isn't gonna work. And I'm gonna miss his face several times. Okay. Alright, heal up. I wonder what shooting him does. Oh, interesting. It, like, interrupts. So shooting, oops. Shooting could be an interesting thing to do. I haven't been using my bullets for anything else. Actually, I am reminded, oops. I should be dodging the other way, so I should be doing. Generally, it's better to dodge into the attacks. I just keep moving away because I'm scared of that that close range grab that he has. I don't know what happened there. The camera was not very clear about what just happened. All right, staying away, buffing my Tonitrus, getting punched in the face, and swinging wildly, and well, getting hit. Buffing the Tonitrus, dodging in, going for some hits. This might actually be it. Well, that was unexpected. Well, it was a long episode, but it was not a montage episode, and we did it in one go. Interesting. Botoku no Seihai. That's like the blasphemous chalice. I think the official translation is defiled. I'll probably have more to say about that in a proper episode of Translation Board in the future. But, well, that certainly was an eventful episode, but here we are at the end of Lower Tumaru. So I suppose next time when I come back for the Chalice Chats, I will be visiting you from Ailing Loran. And until next time, everyone, thanks for watching.